Okay.
Yay.
Nice. Well, welcome to Grue, and thank you so much for taking time out and coming on the show.
I am so excited to be here. So thanks for having me.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. And first I want to say, like, does the sound pretty good? Like I said, I was forced to do it on my phone because my laptop just ran out of space, so that was not good.
Oh my goodness, that's so crazy. Yeah, no, everything's fine. I can see you and hear you perfectly. So thank you for asking.
Great, great. So, like, the first thing I want to start out asking you, like, I've I've looked on the line and saw all the stuff you went through to get to where you're at now, and that is really amazing. Like, you survived a really bad car accident, and I'm really happy to see you still here.
Woo! I'm so grateful to still be here. Let me tell you, I do not have bad days like I had before because I have days, and I am so grateful for every one of them.
Like, how, I mean, that had to be such a scary, horrible time. Like, how was that experience like, being in that accident?
Oh, yes. It's crazy. It brings back memories right now because I went to a town nearby where I live called Heber, Utah. And I
Okay.
was going there to get a new driver's license. And because I had lost mine skiing. So when I was driving home, I was looking at the reservoir on the side of the road, thinking, oh, wow, it's cold. I wonder when that reservoir is going to freeze. It hasn't frozen yet. And then all of a sudden my attention got pulled back to the road and I am coming up extremely fast onto a semi that's pulling a trailer that's going extremely slow. And so I realized, like, I need to get into the left lane or I'm done. Like, I'm head on crashing into the semi. So I look over my shoulder. I see that there's openings in the left lane. I go to move over. I do not make it. The corner of my passenger side headlight crashes into the semi truck. It sends me flipping end over end 3 times, spinning around, ending up upside down in the median. And I just, like, when the accident first happened, I remember thinking to myself, please don't let me die. Please don't let me die. And I kind of felt like right away I got a message that I wasn't going to die. And then
Yeah.
even though this accident is happening so fast, there's a part of me that's causing it to slow down. And I remember saying to myself in my head, okay, Jen, you need to stay relaxed and roll with the car. Keep your hands on the steering wheel so that your arms are always visible and don't get lost in the spinning. Keep your head against the headrest and just breathe. And I remember saying to myself, okay, I have enough momentum. I'm going to go over again. Yep, I have enough momentum. It's going to go over one more time. And then I remember thinking there is not enough momentum to go over. But then I started flipping sideways. And when I ended up in the median, I remember thinking, okay, Hollywood's taught me, like, this is when the car is going to come and it's going to crack me and we're going to run into problems. But what happened was, as a person started peeling down the windshield and
Okay.
they were talking to me, and I wasn't really comprehending what was going on because I was still kind of in my own head. And then when I
Yeah.
started coming back to the environment and I heard him say my name, Jen, 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 are you okay? Are you okay? And I was like, am I okay? And wait, how does this person know my name? Like, what's going on? Like, the person that pulled down the windshield knew me. They knew who I was. Like, what is the odds of that even happening?
Oh,
And
wow.
so
Yeah.
they pull the windshield back and I'm like, I don't know if I'm okay. And I'm looking at that person's face, and based on that person's face, I don't even want to look because their face is giving me a reason to think maybe I'm not okay. So I
Yeah.
closed my eyes and I wiggled my fingers and toes. And I remember being able to feel my fingers and toes. And then I said to myself, I can feel my fingers and toes. I can feel my fingers and toes. I'm okay. I'm okay. As if saying it twice makes it more real, right? Like, it's
Well,
more
yeah,
real
of
because I
course.
said it more than once.
Of
And the
course.
crazy thing about this accident is it just came into my head again because I flew to California last week and I lost my driver's license on the airplane. And
Oh,
so
no.
now I'm home And this is the first time I've lost my driver's license. A girl emailed me and said she found it and turned it into the stewardess, but I filed the claim with the airline and they don't have record of it. So it must not have gotten into that next stage of lost and found. And so I am driving around without a driver's license right now because I don't want to go. I don't want to go back and go get a new license. I'm waiting until somebody's available to take me after work and we're going to go together.
Yeah, definitely. I don't blame you for not wanting to go. That brings a lot of bad thoughts back. Like, yeah, definitely wait for somebody.
Right. So that's where I'm at right now.
Oh, wow. Okay. So going through all that, is that what inspired you to want to start climbing?
Yeah. It was a few things. So I had that horrific accident. And I just remember after that accident being so grateful for every day. In fact, I had 2 kids that were fighting at one point and I sat there and instead of normally intervening, I was watching them fight and just grateful that they had such strong opinions for whatever it was that they were defending. And they more than anything wanted their sibling to feel the same way. And so it's just like looking at humanity from a state of awe. Like, wow, we're really unique. We're really different. We really have like things that each one of us are hardwired to bring and share with this world. And then fast forward a couple of weeks after the accident, a girlfriend of mine was running on a trail and she slipped, hit her head on a rock, died instantly and never came home. And because the sequence of events were so close to each other, I just remember thinking, wow, we do not get to determine when we die, but we sure get to determine how we live. Because I should have died and didn't. My girlfriend should have been fine and she wasn't. Here I am. Why am I alive? What's my purpose? Now, I had been a financial advisor in my previous life. So I was this planner type naturally. Okay. Like you plan for these different things. And I remember thinking 2020 is going to be my 40th birthday. What do I want to do to signify the importance of this big birthday, all these events that just happened? And I decided that I wanted to climb a mountain and that was going to launch off my 40s, that next decade. So I call some friends that are into mountaineering and I asked them, okay, if you could climb one mountain in the whole world, what one mountain would that be? And the general consensus was a mountain called Ama de Blanc. It stands for the mother's necklace. It's located in Nepal. In fact, if you've seen the Paramount Pictures logo, that's the mountain on the Paramount Pictures logo.
Really?
So I was like, okay, beautiful mountain. I'll train for that. Well, the universe had different plans for all of us because COVID struck and I became a homeschool teacher. And so I have 7 children. So I am doing homeschool with the kids and one of my sons is complaining about his math homework. And I said, listen, buddy, we do hard things. You've got this. And he looks me straight in the eyes and he goes, if we do hard things, why are you climbing a mountain called I'm a Dumb Blonde instead of a real mountain like Mount Everest? And I said, I'm like, Ama de Blanc, not I'm a Dumb Blonde, but thank you. You finish your homework. We'll look at Everest. So of course, kids, right? They're just
of course.
Right. So I'm training for Everest. I hire a coach and he's like, yes, I can get you ready. And he tells me to order a book. I order this book. It's about mountaineering. In the front, there's a lady who got a Guinness World Record for skiing across the Alps. And one of the conversations with my coach, I was probably feeling like a bad mom because my kids were complaining about something. And I just remember telling them, I'm like, I could have gotten that Guinness World Record. I can suffer. And my kids would actually think I'm cool because right now I am not a cool mom and it has been a long journey. And so the coaches like took that as a challenge. And I said, okay, fine. But listen, I'm not growing pumpkins and I'm not speed eating hot dogs. So like whatever this is, just know these things. And then we let it go because it was just like a joking, passing conversation. Yeah. He calls me like a few weeks later and he's super excited. He's like, Jen. So I'm thinking, what? Hi, how are you? He's like, I got the perfect Guinness World Record for you. I'm like, okay. He's like, I think you should climb the 7-second summits. I don't even know what they are. I'm like, what are the 7-second summits? I'm like, I don't. He goes, they're the second highest point on each continent.
Yeah.
They're harder than the first 7. They've never been done by a woman. It's 7 continents, 7 mountains, 7 kids. Sounds like a jackpot. And
Right.
so I
Exactly.
said, yeah, it does sound like a jackpot. Let me check in with my kids, make sure everybody's on page. We can have a conversation. Yes, I'd never really slept in a tent before. Yes, I'd never really climbed a big mountain before, but hey, you know what? We'll work those details out later. And that was the birth of this like ginormous quest that just finished June 1 of 2023.
Wow. So you did all 7 now.
Yes, yes, I did. I
Oh my
just
God, that
finished my
is so
last one.
awesome.
Yeah.
Can congrats on the 7 on doing the 7 and going in, and now you're going to be going into the getting the Guinness Book of Records, right?
Yeah, so they'll have to do a check on all the mountains and all that kind of stuff that they do. But yes, it takes a little bit of time, but that's the goal.
Oh my God, that is so awesome. I love that. Nice, nice.
Yeah.
And what do you love? I mean, climbing 7 different mountains. Like, what what do you love most about being there? About climbing them? About being in that world?
Yeah. You know, each mountain is so unique, right? It was such a fun way to travel to the different continents and see
Mhm.
different parts of the world, meet different people, have different experiences. It was just, it was awesome, right? Like every mountain has its own story. Every mountain has its own like special memories to it. I'm just grateful that I had this pursuit that just kept unfolding into something even more magnificent, cooler, better, all the things.
Oh yeah, definitely. So the first time you ever did it, I know, like, I've never climbed one yet, but if I was there and looking up at how big the mountains are, like, I would be scared to death. Like, how did you overcome that fear? Like the first time you went to the mountain and looked and saw how humongous the mountain was.
Yeah. So I'm lucky. I live in Park City, Utah, and we have mountains here. And so
Okay.
I was able to train. I mean, not obviously mountains like the Himalayas or some of these other places, right? All the mountains I climbed were higher than anything I have at home. But I had experience of climbing mountains, and some of them took more than one day. They take a couple days. And you just realize no matter what your goal is, whether it's climbing a mountain, building a business, start whatever it is, it's just one step at a time, one step, one step, one step, one step, and just by like breaking it down into pieces that allow you to make progress, and then keeping track of that progress because it gives you the confidence and the momentum to continue.
Okay. And what's training like? Like, what do you do for training when you're getting ready to climb? And I mean, do you go to the gym? Do you work out at home? Do you work out on the mountain? Like, how? What's the training like?
Yeah. So the training is a combination of all kinds of things. As much as you can mimic the actual environment, the better off you are. So I live by a ski resort, and in the winter, when this resort would close down, I would hike up the resort at night, and then I would ski back down, and I'd hike up at night and ski back down, just because when you're on tall mountains, you're typically in snow and ice, which is similar to what the ski resort would have. So that was definitely an advantage. I have kids, so they'd have soccer practice or soccer game, and I'd be the mom that would bring a 12-inch step to the sideline of the soccer game. I'd put a weighted backpack on. And when I was cheering my son on, I would be going up and down that step the entire hour and a half just to get that movement pattern, because that's what you do when you go up a mountain. And then I would mix in Pilates and yoga and stretching classes and all the different things just to keep my brain entertained.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a lot of work.
Yes, it is. It is.
And you, like you're saying, you're a mom of 7. You climb, you work, you train, you own your own business. And how do you find time for all this?
Yes. Sometimes I'm better than others. I'll be honest with you. I'm glad there's 7 days in a week. I wish there were sometimes 8. I try to overlap as many activities as possible. I'll be honest with you. So if I have boring work meetings, I will sit on the work meeting and I'll have a 12-inch step and I'll just turn off my camera. And then I'll just go up and down on that step. So I'm doing both things at once. I will, yeah, I think we all make time for what's important to us. And so it's very much being intentional about my calendar. If my friends want to hang out with me and I'm training, they know that we're going for hikes. We're not going to go get coffee. If you want to hang out with Jen, it's hike time. And that's just how it has to be for a little bit, but that's okay.
But can you actually hike and drink a coffee? Like, would that work?
You probably could. You probably could. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And you also speak, like you go to different places and speak, and I I I love your message that you give to fans and stuff, because like you always push everyone to move forward, move to their goals, keep moving forward, even if something is keeping you down or keeping you back. You have to find a way to push through it and go forward. And I love like that message you send to fans, and when you go and speak, like that's really in inspiring a lot.
Yeah, the experience, every mountain has had unique setbacks or unique struggles or unique obstacles that have to be overcome. And just being able to tell the story and bring people into those moments, because most people that are listening are not going to be climbing a mountain, but they can connect to that moment and they can connect to that emotion. And then they can reflect that into their own lives and be like, oh yeah, this is a principle that I can carry at home.
Mhm.
People over peaks, right? That's a big story that I share, or the importance of planting our flag, or the importance of owning our awesome and who we are and not apologizing for the needs that we have so that we can be our best selves. So the speaking is one of my favorite things because you get so much energy from the crowd, you share story, you move through all of it together, and you come out with ideas to execute in your own life, which is so rewarding to be a part of that. I'm working on a book right now, which is super exciting. It's been a war. I'll tell you, climbing any mountain is 1,000 times easier than writing a book. Like just sitting in a chair long enough to write a book is about as close to torture as I can handle, if I had to be honest. But we are finally getting all these crazy thoughts lined up and like filtering the stories, getting the through threads. And I'm super excited to share that book because I know it's just a way to reach more people.
Oh yeah. And that book is coming out next year. And what's the name of the book? Because I saw online you can actually pre-order the book now, right?
Yes, 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 yes. I'm so excited. The pre-order just went up. So it's called Quit Proof: 7 Strategies to Build Resilience and Meet Your Life Goals. And it's not even like, so people ask, is it about you will quit things? So this isn't saying that you're not going to quit, but
Yeah.
it's saying that when obstacles happen or setbacks happen, or you need to recalibrate what you're doing, now you have an option to say, okay, was that a goal I still want to pursue? Or is that information that's telling me to go a different direction and pursue something different because that's more worthy of my time and my interest and my attention? So it's just helping you navigate those decisions in life and helping you say, okay, this is happening. What can I take from this experience to keep growing, to keep expanding, and to make the most out of this one magic life that we're each gifted with?
Definitely, yes. And the book's available to pre-order anywhere online, like on wherever they sell books at.
Yeah. So currently right now we have it on Amazon.com.
Okay.
And if you buy it on Amazon and you send me an email, we'll make sure you get a signature plate so that I can sign the book for you. So that's super exciting. And then in a couple more weeks, it'll be available on some of the other pre-order sites, but I'd say Amazon's the #1 site right now.
Hey, I mean that's where everybody shops at, right?
It is. It is. So that's like, that was the most important. We're like, let's get Amazon up and running, then we'll worry about everybody else.
And you also have your own podcast too. Can you tell
Yes.
me a little bit about what you do for your podcast?
Definitely. So I run a podcast called Seek Your Summit. And just like you, I love hearing people's stories. I love learning what makes them tick and how they got to where they got to. And so I really focus on interviewing guests that can share a story where they've taken their life from success to significance. So I think a lot of us can have success stories with things that we've accomplished or things that we've done.
Yeah,
But when we start impacting others or empowering others, that's when our story converts from just being successful to being significant. And all of us, I believe, want to get to that life of significance. When we
exactly.
achieve something and know that feeling and own it ourselves, there's nothing more rewarding than helping somebody else do the same thing. And so that's what the premise of the podcast is. I have amazing guests. It's like one of my favorite things to do is just hear other people's stories. I get so inspired. It's so much fun.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
And like my show, like I bring awareness to mental health, and like even with me, like growing up, even now, with my speech and teasing and bullying, and what would you say to anyone going through something, like if they're going through a rough patch or a victim of bullying and being teased?
Yeah. That's hard, right? I mean, I've had that even as a female in a male environment. Mountain climbing traditionally used to be male dominant. And so
Yeah.
here I'm a female, and one of the mountains that I went to, I wanted to bring a hair dryer because I was afraid that I was going to get sick if I wasn't able to dry my hair because it'd be wet and I'd be going up the mountain. And just learning to embody who you are and understand that that uniqueness to you actually becomes your superpower. And by you owning this piece of who you are, you're giving permission to everybody that encounters you to do the same. So if you have mental health issues and there's something that you're struggling with, don't be ashamed of that. Don't feel guilty. Don't be mad about that. Just say, this is who I am. I'm going to work through this as best as I can. And I promise you, by you owning your story and having the courage to share it, you are giving voice to so many other people and elevating the water for everybody.
Oh no, I 100% agree. Like with me, it was a big chance I took of doing video interviews, because me and my buddy own a site too, and for the site, all I would have to do is send over questions, and they would write them down and send them back to me. That was easy. But then when COVID hit, everyone started wanting to see videos, and that kind of forced me to start doing video interviews instead of written ones. And I was scared to death because of my speech
Right.
stuttering, and at first it was scary, because when I first started doing it, I read everyone saying, like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing, he's stumbling over his words, this and that, and that almost made me stop. I'm like, my whole entire life, all I did was ran from the stuttering and the speech, and I didn't want to run anymore. Like, the bullies and getting teased, and reading everyone writing about me not being able to talk right. I was like, I'm gonna go for it. I'm still gonna do the video interviews, and I'm still doing it. I'm not letting those people stop me from doing this. And yeah, and that's what I try to do with my show. Like, anyone that's going through something, I try to put a smile on her face, or help them move forward to doing something they want to do, even if they have something like what I have with speech or whatever.
Yeah. I think that's amazing. It's such a good message for everybody listening that we are so capable, and we will always have haters. I mean, I have haters.
Oh,
I have people that
yeah.
pick on my teeth. They'll say my teeth are too white, or my teeth are too big, or my teeth are whatever. And then someone will say my teeth are yellow. Like, no matter what you're doing in life, you're going to have haters. But if you have haters, you also have the opposite. You have people that adore you and support you and cheerlead you in everything you're doing. So what the challenge then becomes is closing your ears off to things that are not supportive and keeping your eyes on the things that are. and just constantly saying like, oh, if I'm hearing this hate, or if I'm like reading this and I'm all that's hurting my feelings, stop, pivot, and start doing what supports you and empowers you and gives you the courage to continue, because everybody needs you to.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
And what about songs? Like, what kind of music is on your playlist?
Ah, everything's on my playlist. I love music. I have a son who is 11 years old, who is wanting to be a DJ. So a
Oh, that's
lot of
awesome.
times he's practicing different beats and mixing things. So a lot of times I listen to his music. I
Okay.
do love to listen to podcasts because I love to hear questions that people use, or how they transition conversations, or just learn the skill from others. And then I love all music. I do. I really do. I was listening to Mike Posner earlier today, and he has a song about his experience on Everest, and it's called Home. And I listened to that one a ton just because it resonates with me with climbing.
Okay. All right. Nice.
Yeah.
And what would be your go-to karaoke song if you were doing one?
Oh, geez. That's a question. You know what? Probably Bon Jovi, because that's the first concert that I went to as a child, right? So I just have an affinity
Nice.
for John Bon Jovi because he was my first concert.
Oh,
Live
that's
while you're
cool.
alive. He's got a song, you guys just got to keep living while you're alive. And that song resonates with me with my history.
Nice, nice. And is there any artist or band you would love to see live?
Oh, I love anything live, whether it's a comedian, a sporting event, a band, just having the energy of being in a live event, I think is so important. So I like, if someone gave me tickets, I mean, unless they were swearing the entire time, I would be ecstatic to go to whatever live event there was.
Okay. And I'm a big horror fan, and I always ask my guests this: are there any horror movies do you like to watch?
No, I don't. I don't watch horror movies. I can't even imagine you can say that out loud. I am not like, I went to a scary movie that was like barely scary. And I
Uh-huh.
felt like garbage. And I left before it was over because I'm like, I don't want to pay to feel like this. I want to pay where everybody has unicorns and rainbows and feels happy and falls in love at the end. Me worrying about that knock being someone trying to kill me is not okay.
You're right. You're right.
You're crazy.
And is there do you have a cheat food that you like to eat?
Oh, I am a cheap food eater. I'm like the worst eater you've ever met in your entire life. So people will have a sweet tooth. I have a sweet grill. Like the whole thing is into sugar. And I'm not talking like, oh, I want potato chips or chocolate. I want Starburst and Skittles and licorice and all like the garbage, like Sour Patch Kids. Like I love candy. That's the truth.
Okay, okay. Hey, I love it too. I don't eat it as often, but when I do, I'm like, I, yeah, yeah. It's not good when I get a bag of candy.
Nice. I get it. What bag of candy? What are you talking about? There was no bag of candy here. I ate it.
And are there any places that you would love to go see yet, go visit?
Oh, I think that's the thing that happens when you travel and you go to all these different continents and you see these different
Mhm.
places, and then you're made aware of things that you didn't know about. You're like, oh, when I want to come back here, I want to see that, or I want to do this, or I want to go climb this mountain, or I want to go swim in that ocean. I just took my daughters to South Africa for a trip, and we were there at the wrong season, so you couldn't dive with the great white sharks. I'm like, man, we got to come back. I want to go dive with great whites. Or, it's when you start to travel, you get the bug to travel, and then every place you go, you're like, oh, I want to go further or farther or see different things that I didn't get to see this one time.
Okay. And are there any shows do you like to binge watch?
Oh, okay, so I'm not a watcher. I'm not like a TV watcher. Like I'll go to any live event. You bring
Yeah.
me to the movie theater, and it's my like $20 nap. You'll watch the movie. I will nap through the entire thing. I'm like the worst person to bring to the movies. Television, I don't watch television. I'll watch documentaries. I live in
Okay.
Park City. We have the Sundance Film Festival. So
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
definitely
yeah,
like
yeah.
binge watch during Sundance. Otherwise, I'm kind of nerdy in that department. People ask me about shows. I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about, but okay.
Well, I mean, you like going out places.
I'm a
you like
doer. I'm a
you
doer.
like
Yeah, I want to
hiking. You like
participate. I don't want to watch. I want to do it.
oh yeah, definitely, definitely. So I take it you're more of like a hiking and camping and climbing person over like going to the beach.
No, that's the funny thing. So I don't really like, so the nice thing about camping when you're on big mountains is that you're camping on snow and there's no bugs. I have
Oh,
a phobia of bugs. So if I go out in my backyard, there's bugs everywhere. I'm not a bug person. So I actually love the beach. So I either want
nice.
to be on the top of a mountain where there's no bugs, or I want to be at the beach in the ocean, swimming and playing fun. So I'm like that opposite thing for sure.
Okay, there you go. And where can fans follow you at and see
Yes.
everything you do, like your page, your podcast page?
Yeah. So the best way to reach me is to go to my website. So it's jenndrummond.com, and I have 2 N's in Jen, and that will be the home base for all the different social channels I'm on, the podcast, the book, all the things. I love connecting with people. So please check it out. Reach out to me. I am here to cheer you on in your pursuits.
Awesome. I really love chatting. Like thank you so much for doing this and coming on. And I love hearing stories from people that like to inspire others. So this has been really awesome.
Hey, I really appreciate the opportunity to meet you and to connect with your audience. So thank you so much.
Definitely, definitely. Well, have a great week and have have fun climbing and hiking.
All right. Woo! Cheers, my friend. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.